Welcome everybody, I'm Bradford Skeldorado, and what I decided to do was a video and do a deep dive on one tool that I've been seeing a lot of. I'm a person who spent a lot of money over the years on tools and equipment for my small business and just simply for tinkering with either vehicles or my computer hobby that I end up doing. So what I wanted to do was, this all kind of stemmed from a friend of mine who picked up this Milwaukee ratcheting screwdriver and his comment of, check out my budget Linus Tech Tip screwdriver. Once he said that, I decided I would like to actually buy the LTT screwdriver and put it to the test against some other very budget friendly screwdrivers and see what the difference is between these. Now, this video is not necessarily going to be I'm going to review it and give you my thoughts on it. I watched Linus's video about the screwdriver on what they did to make theirs stand apart, and I wanted to focus on the key components that he mentioned that they thought about whenever they built this. So we're going to look at a few things from design to how it fits in your hand, the dexterity of it, different things like the tool storage, the magnets in it, anything from how it's used to how it looks and feels, and then also factor in the cost of this screwdriver. So hopefully by the end of this video, you can actually get some insight as to whether or not it's worth spending $80 on this LTT screwdriver, or if there's a better option out there. All right, so to start things off, this video really would be kind of impossible to compare every single ratcheting screwdriver. So I bought a couple of them off of Amazon and a couple of them local at Home Depot or Lowe's. You can find these Milwaukee and this Klein screwdriver, but I wanted to test just a few of them with a bit of a range, some that are unheard of, obviously an Amazon Basics screwdriver, and then Klein being a very known tool company for electrical equipment, and of course this Milwaukee ratcheting screwdriver. All of them have bit storage in the handles, they all have magnetic tooling, and they are all ratcheting screwdrivers. So I'm going to go over some of the key points that Linus mentioned whenever looking at his screwdriver, and the version that I ended up buying was the retro version because I grew up in the 90s and Super Nintendo was my absolute jam. So that's why I decided to go with this one, and I really do like the build and construction of this. So let's go ahead and jump into some of the key points that Linus mentioned. All right, so first off, Linus mentioned he wanted a very smooth ratcheting mechanism in this screwdriver. What I did notice is this screwdriver is absolutely buttery smooth when it comes to doing it by hand. And the reason I want to point that out is because computer hardware is not normally very tight. So really once you kind of break torque, get that quarter turn on it, and you end up going to loosen it, that's kind of a very important part of being able to do that with just two fingers. When I ended up getting the Milwaukee screwdriver, the tooling on this is truly very, very stiff. Whenever I wanted to do it by hand, I can't hardly do it with one hand. So kind of the point that Linus was talking about, once you break torque on it and being able to use it, this screwdriver is so stiff that you can't hardly end up using it at all. Now, the Amazon Basics screwdriver is in fact very smooth, very easy to use. So one for Amazon Basics because, like I said, it does kind of match. It does have a little bit more tension to spin the shaft on that versus this one, but very, very minor difference between the two. When it comes to the Klein screwdriver, also very easy to spin, very similar to the LTT screwdriver. So another check for this screwdriver in that category. And this is kind of the curveball. When it comes to this roll gear screwdriver that I found on Amazon, it is actually a ratchetless screwdriver. So as you can see, there is no gear inside. It is all done based on friction, depending on which direction you turn it. And it is very, very easy to spin. So that's kind of a point over what Linus has, because this is the least friction, least resistant screwdriver of the bunch. All right, so the next key feature I want to talk about that Linus had mentioned was the ratcheting direction compared to the position and direction you have on your handle itself. I've owned a lot of ratcheting hand tools in my time, and I've always kind of noticed that depending on what direction, it always has been the opposite. So if you turn it to the left, the tool will go right. If you turn it to the right, the tool will go left. That's one of the key things that they changed in this. And as you can see, if you turn it to the left, it will go to the left, vice versa for the right. So I wanted to kind of compare that to these screwdrivers. So first up, the Milwaukee. I did notice that whenever it is to the left, it goes to the left. When it's to the right, it also goes to the right. So I guess that's one thing that I just have not bought any tools as of late. A lot of my tools that I've had for about 10 years, unless it's just a normal, just off-the-shelf screwdriver that does not ratchet. So the Milwaukee does mimic the LTT screwdriver. The Amazon Basics, turn to the right, it goes to the left. So this has the opposite drive mechanism in there. So that does not mimic LTT. With the Klein, if it's to the left, it goes to the right, same thing. So it's in the same boat as the Amazon Basics. And for our Gearless screwdriver, it is, if you've got it to the right, it spins right. If you've got it to the left, it spins left. So that is also in the same boat as the LTT screwdriver. Now, another thing that Linus had mentioned, and once again, I've owned tools and I never really thought about it, but the LTT screwdriver, he mentions tool play. The play in the shaft of this screwdriver is very minimal. As you can see, it doesn't move around at all. Now, this shaft is fixed into the tool, so I will say that some of these tools actually come out. So I can see where there would be a little bit more play in these, but as you can see, that screwdriver actually moves a lot. Not necessarily going to be a bad thing if you're using it for everyday use around the house, on a car, anything like that. But if you're using it in a very tight space for a computer, that little bit of space can kind of affect you. So like I said, Milwaukee has a lot of play. Amazon Basics, same thing. It also comes out. Same thing with it. Has a lot of play. As you can see, that's probably about 1/4 of an inch of movement with the screwdriver itself. So another minus in this category. Klein, same thing, and unfortunately that does not come out. So this is just chalked up to just the mechanical specs that they kind of hold on these screwdrivers. Like I said, you're going to be doing a lot of electrical equipment with these, so really it's not it's going to be around the house. You're not specific for a computer on this and smaller electronics. So once again, lots of tool play on that. And when it comes to the Gearless screwdriver, it is very tight, but it does have these longer bits that stick out. So as you can see, it does have a very long bit. So right here at the tool itself, it's very tight, but by the time you factor in the actual bit itself, it does have a little bit of play. I will say it has less play than the previous three, but it does not compare to the LTT screwdriver. Another thing that they do mention on this screwdriver is the knurling on the actual shaft itself. This tool is very smooth and that knurling is very, very crisp. None of the other screwdrivers have this, and like this is just going to be for that whenever you're choked up on the bit, you're trying to get the last little bit out. It's just going to help you grab that a little bit more because the tooling on this thing is very, very smooth. But like I said, the other the Amazon and the Milwaukee both have the hex bits that kind of stick out. So I guess you would use that to kind of grip and spin. But once again, no matter how much grip you've got on that Milwaukee, you're just not easily going to spin that one. So like I said, none of the other ones have knurling. I'm sure there are some other ones, but even the Mega Pro screwdriver that they worked with to build these screwdrivers, they didn't have the knurling on it either. So another positive for LTT if you like knurling. I personally do. And I don't want you to think I'm a fanboy of the LTT stuff. I do think $80 is quite a bit, but I don't want anybody to think I'm biased toward LTT because I ended up spending this amount of money on this tool. All right, so next I'm going to talk about the bits and the bit storage on each of these screwdrivers. Linus did an incredible thing, in my opinion, when it comes to the bit storage and the shorter bits. These bits are, I believe, 5mm shorter than the normal, typical bit that you would find in any of these screwdrivers. So I think it's cool because they did compact the space. Not only that, but since these bits are shorter, you would think, well, if they're shorter, then I can't really replace them with just a normal one if I lose one. It actually does have a separator, a little disc that you can actually spin to where you can put a full-size bit in there if you wanted to change these out. But none of that. Linus has a very reasonable price for additional bit combinations. So you can really pick whatever size bits that you want to fit in this. Comes in a nice little storage container, but these bits are very nicely coated. It does actually come with a magnet and a very strong magnet for the bit holder itself. Now, I do like the fact that this does rotate because whenever you're using it, if you do have to apply more, or if you just want to, if you're putting pressure on it and you're holding down, let's say you're doing something, battery on your car, a long screw that you're kind of dealing with something else that's not computer related, not tech related. I like to have that kind of butt cap that really does spin. And the actual bit holder itself has a nice crisp snap whenever it shuts. So you know it's not going to come out, which none of these other ones will come out, but it just makes you feel, it feels like a good quality tool when it does close. Now, onto the Milwaukee. Oh, and this has 12 bits inside of it. It comes with 12. So 12 bits in this one. The Milwaukee advertises 14 in 1. Whenever you end up looking at it, it has the same 12 spots and 12 bits, not the same bits themselves, but same number. So I would assume they're counting the end and the handle itself to make 14 in 1. It's kind of confusing because there are only 12 apex bits in this. The butt cap does also spin. It doesn't really click shut to let you know that, and not necessarily let you know, but like I said, it's just a nice feel on the LTT screwdriver. But like I said, 12 bits plus the extension. So that's kind of what you're working with on the Milwaukee. When it comes to the Amazon Basics, one thing that I really like about the tool storage in this one is it's spring loaded. So I thought that was really neat. The only thing is if you ever have anything happen and that spring-loaded mechanism fails, then you're kind of out of luck. It would basically become a one-handed operation to having to push the two buttons in and pull it out. Now this one, the butt cap does not spin. These bits, like I said, it may seem like a small thing, but in order to pick the bit, you got to spin the whole tool versus actually spinning the end cap, so it doesn't work that way when you're using it in the palm of your hand. This one does come with 13 bits, 12 bits in the handle, and it comes with one pre-installed. So 13 apex bits in this one more than the LTT screwdriver. So that's, I guess, a pro for this one. For the Klein, it does rotate. It does have a very nice close whenever you end up closing this one. But these bits are, there's 7 bits that it comes with, but all of these bits are double-sided. So as you can see, these things have 2 different size bits, 2 different ends on them, I guess you could say. So you've got plenty of options there for tooling with this tool. And when it comes to the gearless screwdriver, this one has, actually they're all installed in the handle. They are long, very long bits themselves. So kind of interesting way to take in and out these tools. And that kind of leads me to my next point is the magnet in the LTT screwdriver is absolutely incredible. It's very, very strong. The bits are shorter, so that magnetism from the actual magnet inside the shaft is very strong and holds a fastener very, very well. The other screwdrivers didn't have an issue. Milwaukee was very strong because it has those standard bits. But I did notice in the Klein, and especially in this roll gear screwdriver, the bit is so long that I couldn't even hold a screw even though it is magnetized. The Klein not so much. The Klein did have a decent magnet, but with that long bit, it really does affect how the magnet holds the actual fastener itself. So, but this one, like I said, it was almost useless when it comes to holding your hardware itself. So I definitely would not recommend this on your tech equipment. Anything that you could possibly lose a screw, this is definitely not the one I would choose when it comes to that magnetism. Same thing with the Amazon normal standard bit. So it does not have any issue with magnetism on that side of the tool. And really the last main key point that they were talking about was the handle design itself. In my opinion, it really does kind of mimic the older snap-on ratcheting screwdrivers that had this tri-lobe design. I really like it. And my honest opinion about this is the more simple it is, the better it is. It's very smooth, has a very smooth texture. I would not recommend really using this around oily parts, like car parts or anything like that. But it does just naturally fit your hand with the tri-lobe design. The Milwaukee just has a normal round screwdriver. It fits in the palm of your hand. There's no real indexing for anything like this, which not a bad thing, but comparing to the LTT, I definitely think it feels more natural to have a tri-lobe. I've got tri-lobe screwdrivers that I've had for years and years, and I absolutely love them. When it comes to the Amazon Basic, same thing, basic handle, nice rubber coating. Rubber coating with the Milwaukee as well. So it definitely, you're not gonna lose it. It is meant more for cars, hobby type things like that. So again, with the Klein, very big, very plain, basic, but it does have these grips on it. So if you really were torquing down a lot, you're gonna feel comfortable with doing that with the Klein. With the roll gear, it also has a tri-lobe design. Same thing, fits really good. It kind of contours to your hand as far as where your thumb placement is. I would say kind of turn those bits because it will kind of dig into, if you are torquing, you definitely don't want it to end up cutting into your finger. But very nice feel. Like I said, I love the gearless ratcheting. It's very smooth and very helpful. But like I said, that magnet really throws me off. So my recommendation for this screwdriver, is it worth $80? Is it the best screwdriver out there? Is it really a benefit over these other ones and something that you should keep in your toolkit? My honest opinion is I wouldn't spend $80 on it if I didn't have the $80 to spend. And what I mean by that is, realistically, a big screwdriver that has changeable bits is not really necessary when you could get something like the iFixit kits that are very small, fit very well, very strong magnet. This screwdriver, and the one thing I do like about it is the types of bits that this has that is small enough and made for electrical components is very helpful. All these other screwdrivers will go down to a P1 bit that is a smaller cross bit, Phillips type screwdriver bit, but this actually has a P0 that is meant more for small electrical components. So these are obviously not meant for tech or small parts. These are all meant for your everyday hobbies. Like I said, wrenching on the cars, but that's kind of where this comes in, that this can wrench on cars, this can wrench on your PC, these can wrench on your cars, and I wouldn't recommend for your PC. Now you can get a lot of these other brands, they have multiple bits, multiple sets, so I'm sure you could absolutely piece it together, but I would not recommend these for your tech equipment. But honestly, the $80 price tag is a little hard to pay. It is a very beautiful screwdriver. It's very nice. I love to have this in my arsenal of tools. I will be using it, but in reality, I don't think I'll be using it as much as the $80 price tag really warrants me to use it. The simple screwdriver that I always use, just a normal, handheld screwdriver, no ratchet, really. The bits that you're pulling out most of the times have about 3 threads on them. It's not really necessary to have to ratchet. And then again, the ratcheting portion of it is almost, once you break that torque, it's not tight enough to have to actually ratchet it, other than choking up on it and doing it with your hand anyways. So if I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna break torque and I'm just gonna undo it with the actual tooling itself, not necessarily needing it for the ratcheting portion of the screwdriver. So is it a great screwdriver? Absolutely. Is it overpriced? In my opinion, a little bit. But if you're a fan of tools, if you like having new equipment, if you like to show off nice stuff that you have, then absolutely go for it. But like I said, it's a little high in my opinion when ultimately you get the same result of one of these. So thank y'all so much. I greatly appreciate y'all watching. Hopefully y'all pick something up from this video. And like I said, Linus, great job on the screwdriver. Congrats on finally getting it done. I know it was a long road, but this thing is really almost like a trophy piece. This is, in my opinion, almost meant to display it. They come in a lot of different colors. They've got a Noctua that's the tan and brown. They've got the orange and black that they have. They've got an all black, and then they've got a range of neon colors that look awesome. So great job on the tool. If you've got $80 to spend, why not? But realistically, it's a little high. So thank y'all so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. If y'all have got any type of comments below, please let me know. I thank y'all so much every time y'all watch my videos, and it means a lot to me. Make sure you like and subscribe. And like I said, let me know what else you'd like to see. Hope y'all have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you next time.